Hey guys, this is Jonathan with GetProbateTraining.com, and just want to give you a quick overview for all you newcomers to probate and give an idea of why there is a huge opportunity in the courthouses right now that not a lot of people know about, which is the reason we built this site, because we feel it would be literally a crime to not inform everyone what's going on in the courthouses as far as real estate opportunities for investment purposes, and also for real estate agents that are looking for very, very motivated sellers that have to sell in a short period of time, and it's fairly easy to negotiate. So without further ado, I'm just going to go over a quick few facts and then kind of show you guys a diagram of how it works. And with that and whatever else is on our site and other blog posts, you should have a fairly good opinion of what probate is and what it means to you. So the facts real quickly here: in the United States of America, we've got over $6 trillion worth of real estate at the probate courthouses right now. So that basically means a probate, what is that? A probate is when someone passes away, they usually leave stuff behind. And stuff could include a home, cars, personal belongings, collections, a motorboat, all these things, all this stuff, and clothing, everything that goes in the house, and everything that belongs to that person. And what usually happens is that the people are left behind, also known as the heirs, they would rather have the cash and the money than the stuff. And also what you need to know is when people pass away, they usually leave some debt behind, such as a car payment, credit cards, death taxes if they weren't set up correctly. The other thing you need to know is that 80% of these probate filings in the courthouses have real estate in them. Most of the time, I would say 9 out of 10 times, it's a single family house, single family home, and now this is going through probate, which I'll show you in a little bit what that means and how you fit in, and you can position yourself to really leverage this whole process to your advantage, to either get a listing or buy a home up to 30 or maybe even 40% below market price. Another interesting fact here is that 67% of these properties are free and clear. That means there's no debt, because these people have lived in them for a good 30 years or maybe longer, and they bought them when the market was really down. They've had it for 30 years. There's no debt on it. They didn't refinance it. Or maybe they did and they since then paid it off. But the bottom line is 67% of these are free and clear. So what does that mean? You now have options. If you're a real estate agent, you now have options for them to actually carry the paper and do a seller financing deal. And this is actually the oldest method of collecting money for the government. This is before there was any kind of short sales, foreclosures, even tax liens. This goes back to the first probate court in the U.S. that was established in Massachusetts in 1784. Guys, that's 226 years ago. This has been around forever, and not a whole lot of people know about this. And that's actually to your advantage, because we're marketing this and we want people to know about it. And as you know, California is the home to the largest elderly population. And today, 1 in 77 Californians are the age of 85. Now, I'm mentioning this because we are in California, but if you look across the United States, all in all, we have a huge aging population. And why do I say this? At some point, they're going to pass away, and at some point, they're going to leave stuff behind that the heirs have to sell. So there's two ways to settle in the state. There is the way of settling with a living trust. So that means when the people were around, they were living and they were alive, they had enough foresight to set up a living trust through an attorney, and they got that set up, and everything that they own, real estate and whatnot, and all their investments folded under that living trust. So when they pass away, they would actually, the living trust and the will would tell them what to do with their assets and who gets what and if it should get sold or not. But here's the thing, guys. A lot of people set up a living trust, and then along the way they refinance the house, or they take it out of the living trust because they have to adjust some things, some ownership or whatnot, and 8 out of 10 times they forget to put it back in the living trust. So now you have the situation where an asset was taken out of the living trust and then was not put back in, and that's where probate comes in. Probate is the process of settling an estate through a court order, whereby there's a person that's personal representative that's responsible for the settling of the estate. That means for the maintenance of the estate and also selling all the assets of the estate. And probate is an estate issue, so it goes state by state, is different. And usually there's an appointed person that handles all the administration of it, and that's usually known as the personal representative. Could also be known as the administrator or the executor. So here's how it works, basically. someone passes away and the personal representative gets appointed, the first thing that happens is they go seek legal advice from an attorney, and that attorney can then say for a fee, and the attorney gets a fee based on the settling of the estate, which basically means when everything is sold, they make a commission. That's an escalating commission. So that's motivation factor number one. Motivation factor number two, the personal representative here is dealing with a lot of stuff, and I'll show you in a minute what I'm talking about. The other option is that the personal representative will go to the courthouse, which is called improper. In the situation where the personal representative goes to the attorney will go to the courthouse. Well, either way, it's public information. And in this public information, everything is filed. Who passed away, what they own, how many heirs are left, how many kids, who's entitled to what, and guess what? Now you, as the agent or the investor, can go to the courthouse and pick up this information, glance over it and see who's involved, and then you can contact the personal representative and say to him or her, hello, I'm a professional investor or professional real estate agent. I noticed that here's the situation. You are currently going through a probate. I know about this, and here's how I can help you. Do you need any services? Can I help you anything? And a lot of time, guys, these personal representatives, they don't even live in town. They live out of town, or sometimes out of state even. And a lot of the heirs will live out of state. All the information, you'll get that from the courthouse. So you cannot get to read between lines as far as motivation and whatnot. Yeah, real quick before we end up here, I just in closing, I want to show you what the estate executor, or also known as the personal representative or administrator, what their duties are. And this is a whole flow chart of all the things they need to take care of, and they're responsible for. So there's a lot of pressure on them to get all this done. And sometimes you have 5, 6, 7, up to 12 heirs waiting for this to get resolved. Plus you have an attorney that gets paid commission on the settling of all this. So I hope you guys can kind of read between the lines here. There's several factors of motivation, and as you know in real estate, the first thing we say is location, location, location. But guess what? If there's no motivation, nobody cares about the location. So location is true, but here we have a really true case of motivation, motivation, motivation. And the PR, like you'll see here, the personal representative or the executor has a ton on their shoulder. The state probably has a lot of debt they need to deal with, outstanding debt, credit card debt, death taxes if they haven't set up their will. And by the way, the 85% of the time people do not have a will or a living trust set up to handle this, which is why we have to go through probate. And thirdly, you have an attorney who, a lot of times when an attorney is involved, they get paid on the commission based on the settlement of this particular estate. So all these things to keep in mind. There's all these parties, and then you have all the heirs that are just waiting around to get their piece of the pie. So now you've got 4 very, very motivating, very real factors that will move this process along, which helps you make really good, solid, and aggressive offers as an investor, and as an agent really helps you market your services to them so you can go out there and find the buyer for them. That's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Jonathan with Get Probate Training. Next week we'll have another one coming up on another aspect of how to fund this process and how to get investors without putting any of your own money down. Thanks so much, and have a fantastic day.